Welcome, Mike.
Hello, good afternoon.
I mean, we have more than a modest quorum right now, so I call the meeting to order. Let's run through the minutes. Everybody should have had a copy of them. Any questions, comments? If not, I'd accept a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. So Mike, I'll turn things to you and then to Ryan, I think.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I wanted to ask Ryan Van Albaugh from the Career Jam effort to give us a quick overview of how the Columbia Greene County component of it went, and then have him explain how it's still going on and how the Columbia Greene County students and faculty can still participate. And Ryan?
Thanks, Mike. I had to unmute myself there. Thanks, everybody, and appreciate the opportunity. Bill and I are excited to be here and just share with you what's going on with Career Jam so far. I will share my screen in just a moment and give everybody an overview and just a quick run through of what Career Jam looks like today and how students are accessing it. We have students regularly coming in and school districts regularly coming in. If you recall, we have an extended period of time here where Columbia Greene students can continue to access Career Jam all the way from when the launch date of April 14th all the way through the end of this month. We're already in May, so the end of May. So I'm going to go ahead, and if you don't mind, I'll share my screen, and then I'll pull up, make sure I've got the, there we go. Can everyone see that? My shared screen?
There you
Great.
are now. Yep, we just
Great. So this is our landing page. Over to the right, you'll notice immediately that we have push notifications, which these are promotions and just messages to students to check out certain booths, check out certain activities to make sure that they're engaging, and just reminders overall. So I'm going to go right into the event and show you.
So before you do that, show everyone the Rip Van Winkle Bridge there.
Oh, it was there. I can pull back out if you want.
That's fine.
It is there. We can certainly send access to everyone on the call so you can see. This is a great welcome video from, I believe, Catskill. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Mr. Hernandez from Catskill Schools. He did a great job orienting kids and guests to what you're going to see and why you're at Career Jam. Yep.
Exactly. So we'll send you access to this so you can check this out on your own time. You'll see here, this is the lobby of the event where we have sponsor logos and a help desk. Students can find out information from FAQs to career readiness materials and so forth. You'll see Columbia County's logos here prominently displayed. And then as I go through, I have two options. I can click on the exhibit hall here, or I can go to this green toolbar and use this as well. I always like to use what's in there. In the actual lobby, we've broken this down into two separate halls, two separate floors. And this is very simple for students to navigate. I'm going to get rid of the announcements, but simply scrolling through and checking out and viewing a booth. I'm going to try to go slow. One booth I'd bring your attention to, and I'm going to search for it up here, which is handy as you've gone through and view different booths. You can certainly find ones that you want to go back to. Ginsburg did a phenomenal job building their booth. They really embraced Career Jam. They've got some great video content that is very relevant to students at this age, very approachable. You can see these videos by clicking on these banners here, these images, and also down here under videos as well. They did a great job of just from a cell phone walking through and showing what a day in the life of is like at Ginsburg. We've shared Alex's story here several times through our social media channels and communicating out to school districts that this is a great example of the types of content that students will be exposed to. And so they've just done a great job. So this is the the exhibit hall where students can go and view all sorts of content. I'll do quickly the second exhibit hall to show we have certainly a wide range of industries. Columbia Green Workforce is here. Greene County Sheriff registered recently. So we've got a great representation. I'm sorry. Did someone have a
And
question?
when we first started this, it was only the Columbia Green companies for 2 weeks, right?
Correct. When we launched this on April 14th, it was for 2 weeks, just Columbia Green employers. And then in end of the month, late April, we opened it up to the rest of the Capital Region North. Over here, you'll see just an exhibitor's index where you can search alphabetically for employers. One thing to bring your attention to is as I click, this is CS Arch, seasoned. I'm going to go back to one I wanted to show you with Ginsburg. And you'll notice down here under videos and documents, this plus backpack feature. This allows students to add this content, whether it's documents or videos, to their virtual backpack and have that emailed them directly to their school email so they can view it anytime they want and share it with friends and family. So that's a great feature to have, that they can certainly review any of this later on. And I'm going to jump over into the auditorium. Auditorium here is where we house many of our sponsor videos and other notable videos as well. Department of Ed Commissioner Betty Rosa, Ruth Mahoney. There's some great videos in here as well that we'll send you access. But this is another place that students can get different content from even the booths. One thing we wanted to make sure, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you go back to the auditorium main screen, you'll see the Rip Van Winkle Bridge again. And
oh, right. Good point.
You know, being a native of Greene and Columbia County family still down there, that we kept that touch, you know, at both the landing page and inside the auditorium.
Yeah. And then one of the things we were very intentional about this year is just making sure that we're prompting engagement and students have access, repeated access, so they can come in anytime they want through the end of May, 24/7 on any device. One of the things we've done here is gamified, basically, Career Jam, where the more points, the more activities and actions students participate in, the more points they can earn. And you'll see here, and Bill, if you want to jump in and just talk through this a little bit, but this is the actions, and then we've got some Key Bank and Stewart Shop gifts that will be given out to the top few here.
Yeah, the great feature here is, you know, we're trying to prompt young and, you know, 8th and 9th graders engagement, correct? So, and this actually shows too, you see their only initials. We're very careful. We're what's called Ed Law 2 compliant. We're very careful not to be sharing or disclosing any minors information, personally identifiable information. But the point here is each of those actions that you see listed had point values that we intentionally did not disclose, so kids couldn't just game the game by going and hitting a button over and over and over. So what you see on the left-hand side, which are really the top 50 scores out of over 2,500 kids who have been in here at this point, the average point value of any one action is probably, you know, about 200 points. So when you're in the tens of thousands of points and 100-some thousand points. These kids are really engaging in the content is the point. So we really wanted to make sure that we use the feature like that. And Ryan will take you and show you another one that was a great factoid based game, which is a scavenger hunt. So throughout the spaces inside Career Jam, there are these light bulbs, which are our aha moments. And we crafted some messaging around various skills and workplaces and, did you know kind of features of some of the employers and the career sectors in our area. So when kids find these, they get a little pop-up factoid, but they also are earning points in that leaderboard.
And we have about 3 minutes, so
Yep.
there may be some questions.
Sure thing.
Oh, that was it on that part. I think, Ryan and I just wanted to make sure you all got a look at the feel. It's very vibrant, very dynamic. We intentionally featured all sorts of career sector employers that have a diverse spectrum of jobs and skills in demand. We really are grateful, Columbia and Green. We're so willing to kick it off. We think it's an incredible way to prime your talent pipeline. A lot of you know better than we do how in demand skills for trades and retail, advanced manufacturing, every sector, hospitality, they all are. So in terms of being proactive about addressing workforce development needs, you've been that, and we're really grateful. And we think this is a great way to prime your talent pipeline going forward. Happy to take any questions, Mike.
Without any questions, I guess if you could just give a quick recap of where you think we're going for next year with the dual model, virtual and
Sure.
in person.
Yeah, so the really great, out of crisis breeds, opportunity and sometimes necessity. So we ran this as a virtual experience in the pandemic for obvious reasons. But what we really recognize is that this allows access for students from all different types of school districts and all different backgrounds. And the extended time frame and the 24/7, if you will, smart device accessibility this allows is really powerful. So we think it's worth doing going forward, the virtual experience. The things like the backpack where you can grab information and send it to yourself, use it in classrooms or with your household, with your family, are really powerful. That said, you can't, replace the social element, the real engaging, in-person activities and skills demonstrations at a career event. So we believe that it will be, hopefully, health permitting, appropriate to have an in-person central venue host the real life activity, and that this virtual experience would wrap around it, so that perhaps maybe we open the virtual career jam for a week or two. Then there's a live in-person event, which again requires a lot of other logistics, busing, kids coming in rotations of an hour and a half or so, making it back to get to dismissal at school. But then they can come back into the virtual environment after that in-person event and revisit booths that they thought were really cool or booths they couldn't quite get to while they were there for an hour and a half, and share information about those employers, with, again, their classroom or their home. So, the combination, the hybrid in person and virtual, we think will be very powerful going forward. And that's what we'd love to accomplish, with your support.
Well, we certainly want to thank both you and Ryan for working on this and making it come to fruition. We had great plans a year and a half or 2 years ago to do this initially virtually, or in person, but it shows your flexibility and adaptability in pulling it off online. And while we ended up with about 36 companies when the Columbia Green piece of it kicked off, we're looking forward to having an on-site event for Columbia Green employers, but then allowing the students in those counties to see what opportunities there are in the region. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mike, you want to proceed down the list to Junior Leadership Institute?
Yes, the Junior Leadership Institute had their virtual graduation in January, but there has been ongoing contact with the participants. I spoke with Kellyanne Radzik at the college this week, and we're not at a point where we are comfortable with internships. And the virtual internships have been difficult to organize. What we're looking at doing is hosting, when Kelly and told the students, they were looking for information about their careers, and of the 7 or 8 who participated regularly, several were veterinary, science, medicine, and others were criminal justice. So our thought is we would have a panel discussion, a virtual panel discussion with someone, a guidance counselor, someone in the medical or field, and someone in the educational curriculum field at the college level for each of these, and break the students up into these 2 groups. Others, when they were polled, indicated they would like to visit a business. And Kelly had the idea that we could set up a tour of local businesses where we could do it, in downtown Catskill and downtown Hudson, and give them an assortment of businesses. Obviously, it would be restaurants, retail, hotel, maybe some light manufacturing, but and then that would, and then we would also, anyone that was truly looking for an internship, we could work with Rebecca at the New York Columbia Green Workforce New York office to see if there's an opening in their youth group or their youth program. And then we've had great interest in next year's program. There are 2 new work people at the Columbia Green New York Works office at the college, Chris Nardone, who's the director, and Danielle Palesci. They both worked at CoArc together, and we've worked with them when they were there on several grant programs. They're very interested in being an equal partner in this. With Bill Gerlach now at the chamber, he and I have had some discussions about it, as well as with Bill has spoken to Jeff Friedman about it. We think the investment that both the college and CEDC has made in this program is well worth ensuring that its continued success. And we're planning a meeting in mid-May when Chris Nardone is back from vacation to pull all these partners together to ensure its ongoing viability. Are there any questions?
So Mike, if I understand it, these are like panel discussions, business visits, that's in place of the planned internship. We basically are not going to do internship for the current class or last year's class. Is that how we finally came out?
That's how we came out. And our goal would be to go back to those students next year. And part of it was, we're still under a state of emergency. The chair of the Board of Supervisors still is, prohibited meetings at the county in person. And I think the other issue we found, which also was an issue at Career Jam, was with 70+% of the employers in the county having under 10 employees, they're struggling to stay in business. And the added effort to have an intern where you can provide them with a good experience means you have to dedicate time, and these companies are just not getting, their focus can't be distracted from their survival. And we found that with trying to get people to sign up for booths at Career Jam as well. So that's the plan.
Thanks, Mike.
Are there any questions?
No, thanks.
Jim, as you know, I'm traveling. So if you could give me the next bullet, because I'm trying to
job fair. You hear
Oh,
that?
yes, the career fair. As you'll recall, we participated in 3 career fairs over the years with the Columbia Green Workforce Office, the college, and the newspaper, and Columbia Green Media. And this year, the career office is looking to do a career fair, and they have sought our partnership again with the 2 chambers and the Greene County Economic Development Office, the college, and we're still attempting to see what interest the newspaper may have. This year, it's going to be a virtual career fair, and we've been working with them. And again, when Chris is back from his vacation, we're going to get that organized. His feeling is that the virtual job fair should be in early to mid-August, because right now, with the unemployment being the second lowest in the state again, that there aren't many people out there, but there will be a large number of people coming back into the job market in September when the
More text message from Eileen.
when the $300 premium on the unemployment is up. And so his thought was that would be the best time to do it. I'm not sure if any of you who are employers have some input on that, but that's what we're going to discuss when we meet with him in 2 weeks.
Any comments on this proposal? If not, Mike, the next item on the agenda is micro business seminar.
Right. Martha, are you on the call?
He is.
I'm here, Mike. Would you like me to give an overview?
Yeah, just
Yeah, I think
give an
so.
overview in the fact that with the additional grant money from the Small Business Administration, that we're also looking at other programs that would provide technical assistance, and perhaps including the very briefly the Entrepreneurship for All effort.
Sure. The micro business program is something we've been offering for 20 some odd years. It's an 8-week program. We have panelists, we have local professionals who teach the courses, and we always have a closing speaker. We do try to keep it updated. You know, we engage with different speakers. Sue Bear was the CPA who taught the class this past fall. She's relatively new to the program, but we also had Andy Howard teach the legal class, one of our veteran instructors. The closing speaker in the fall was Bob Manassir, who is the entrepreneur in residence at Innovate 518, which is based up at the University of Albany. Mike Tucker made that connection, and I'm really grateful. He was very well received. And every one of those participants does get 5 hours of free technical assistance from Columbia Economic Development. We had 12 people in the course in the fall, and 10 of them have received technical assistance of some sort. One of them has received a loan from us since finishing the course, and one of them already had a loan with us. But we did receive, and I think everyone on our board knows, additional technical assistance money from the SBA for the year starting on July 1. So we may be able to offer 10 hours of technical assistance to everyone who participates in the course this coming year. And we've offered technical assistance to every one of the individuals who received a grant from the Galvan Foundation. That was for minority and women business owners, and we're working with those individuals as well. Any questions?
And Martha, you're current on Entrepreneur for All as well?
Yeah. A little bit. Mike, you want to talk about that? I mean, Entrepreneur for All is a program that was started over in Lowell, Mass, and they've been expanding their territory. They've actually gone out of state. I think they have a county in Colorado and maybe one in New Mexico, and they are very interested in expanding into Columbia County. We've had discussions with them. Their program is a little bit different than ours, but I do believe there would be some overlap. They don't provide loans, but they do have, I think they call it an incubator program. It's a year-long program for people that want to start a business. And these are underserved individuals. They don't even get them to the point where they have a business plan or apply for a loan. But after their year-long incubator program, then they're paired with 3 mentors who continue to work with them for another full year. And so we're trying to figure out how we can partner with them if there is room for another service similar to ours, helping local entrepreneurs and aspiring business owners.
Okay, so it's nothing we're doing right now. It's something we're thinking about.
Well, we've
Well,
had Peter
yeah.
Taylor at the Berkshire Taconic Foundation. To us and probably 8 or 10 other stakeholders. And we've had one call, and there's a call again on Tuesday with a broader group. And again, it's fairly targeted to entrepreneurs, not workers. But again, where an entrepreneur has himself or herself and 1 or 2 employees, that is an extension of our workforce and education efforts. The other groups that are involved are the chamber, a number of the social service agencies, and the group keeps expanding, and we just wanted you to be aware of it. It's a small community with the Fund for Columbia County being part of Berkshire Taconic. You may have already heard about it. And, we don't know what our role will be. We're wanting to be sure that all of the economic development resources and tools are available without everyone having to go to 7 places to find out what they are. And so we're very pleased that it's being coordinated in its initial stages as a partnership, and we're grateful to Berkshire Taconic Foundation for approaching it that way.
So, Mike, on the agenda list, you've got next something called focus training opportunities, including hospitality, clean energy, manufacturing, etc.
Yes, we have had a number of discussions going back several years about doing for specific business types. And Martha and I and Carol had discussions a year or 2 ago with hospitality businesses. And in connection with those hospitality businesses, it was really a double track. One was a track for all hospitality workers. The other was for workers who needed basic soft skill sets before they could be trained for hospitality jobs. I think we've all seen in the paper the shortage of restaurant workers, line chefs, kitchen helpers, and with the extent of the restaurant, hotel, hospitality economy we have, we've had several meetings on that. Several members of Dr. Drummer's staff have participated in those conversations. The Basilica and Melissa Off-the-Mare has contacted us about a program that she's looking to work on in the clean energy area. I know she has also met with the college. Again, I think as we begin as a organization and the board looks at the strategic plan going forward, I think it's important that we're aware of all of these initiatives, and then we have to determine what our role should be and where we have the ability to have the resources to be effective. So again, the clean energy, the hospitality, and the historic restoration. areas are areas that we think and have had discussions with the college and with Questar about how to have programs that could give people the skill sets they need and help the employers who are looking for workers at the same time. So again, it's informational. And I did include in the email I sent last night a list of all it's not meant to be inclusive, but or exclusive, but the list of players in the workforce education arena. And you can see the importance of wanting to partner and coordinate and not duplicate, but you can also see the breadth of people who are working on it and the need to ensure that we're not working at cross purposes, but are working in hand in hand and connected arms to make things effectively
Mike,
move forward.
Mike, what is our role in that? How do we fit in?
Well, we have employers, and some of Martha's loan clients are looking for work. I would like to see, often we serve as a convener, and then I think the people who have the ability to teach the course and provide the training really should take the lead, and then we should be aware of it so we can market it through our channels of information so that those programs get filled, those people get trained, and the employers that we serve get good workers.
Mike, as you've gone through these various items under what you call number 2, you 2 or 3 times used the word strategic. So share your thoughts with us on that. Are we talking about a reconsideration of our strategic plan? Where does workforce and ed fit within that plan? Or is this just sort of a haphazard use of the word strategic?
Well, I think that, the executive committee and the board at the last meeting had some, discussion about wanting us to revisit the strategic plan. It's 3 years old. We did one 6 years ago. I think our pillars of entrepreneurship, infrastructure, quality of life, and workforce and education are still very much appropriate and the focus of the organization. I think as we look at the 3 things, 3 goals or objectives underneath those, and then the 3 initiatives underneath those, I think the COVID experience and the willingness to take on just about anything that anyone asks us to do to help them prove to us that we have limited resources. We have a great staff who have worked very, very hard. We've used the financial resources that we've had to benefit as many as we could in a fiscally responsible way. But, we do have limitations, and whether the board of the organization or the board of supervisors think that we should be focused more on housing or broadband, or it's just, I think there's so much going on. I think that at times you have to have a seat at the table, even if you're not taking the lead, but we do need board direction and input on where you think we should be going. And, if any of you have some thoughts on, the list could go on for 10 things, but if the 4 things we've already talked about, if you have any thoughts on what our role should be with respect to those, it would be helpful to get that discussion started.
I know I've heard it somewhere before. So someone said you don't want to be a mile wide and an inch deep.
I think it was me.
I know it was you.
Okay. Then I'll just go down the list for you, Mike. The next item you identified was apprenticeship.
I know Dr. Drummer and I have talked about this. I think it's very difficult. I think it should be on the list. But again, I think if we can develop a pipeline where we are able to send people looking for apprentices or people wanting to go through an apprenticeship to the right place where they should be coordinated, or where the educational component and the work in place component matches, you know, our role should be on the periphery of that.
So you're alerting us to the possibility of not doing anything with the staff under the heading apprenticeship.
Right now, I think that, I guess, if there's some feedback from the committee members, and maybe it's unfair to ask in this first session, but I do think based on having a strong committee structure, and this being one of the only committees that focuses exclusively on one of the pillars of the organization's strategic plan, at what level do we have a seat at the table, and at what level, is our focus on K through 12 education, or is it on high school education? Is it on helping people who are at the lowest level of the workforce training? Is it helping our manufacturers and our existing businesses find the programs that others are running to ensure that they get the workers they need? I just don't, have a clear picture of what each of you think, the role is.
Ruth, are you raising your hand, Ruth?
Yeah, I did, Jim, thanks. I hear you, Mike, and I'm making some suppositions based on what you said. I wonder how much of, first of all, I think you're asking some really big questions, and it feels like something that we would want to kind of have a special session to go back to with a strategic plan.
Yeah, this is just to lay the groundwork of.
Yeah, and I wonder also if you're having a totally understandable reaction to, kind of coming to a new stage, it feels like, of COVID, where we're kind of reimagining what's next, and we're not so much in emergency mode, I hope. And maybe, is that what's driving this in part? I wonder, feeling overwhelmed during COVID with everybody needing something from the CEDC, and now thinking, okay, do we need to repurpose, touch base, home base again?
Mike, you're muted.
Hey, Mike.
Some of it was how to get out of crisis du jour, because in an organization like this, if you don't have a mission with measurable metrics, it's easy to get distracted by whoever called that day.
Totally get that.
So I think it's good to raise the issues. I think you will each have your own thoughts and ideas. You may have questions which we'll be happy to answer at the staff level, all of us, the funding aspects of it, the interplay with your own organizations or organizations that you're aware of or partner with. But, again, some of the programs that we have the potential of getting involved in, it may be best to just give them a grant or a stipend and focus our efforts on some other aspect of workforce and education rather than doing all the work. I do think that, if we can continue to work and strengthen the partnerships and participate with the Career Institute and Career Jam, where the lead on it is with a spread out amongst more partners and players than it has been in the past, that those are two great programs, and they have the ability to impact a larger number of people to leverage the effort. But I think that, it also gets myopic where you're serving, even with the Career Jam where we were, there's 500 kids in the 8th grade in Columbia County total. And, you go further out in the region, and what did he say? 2,500 participated. We have had 12 to 15 in the Career Institute. I mean, it's a wonderful program, but, how do we help all of the partners work together to leverage these things where one organization doesn't get, and the college has been an incredible partner on that program and has put in as much, if not more, of the time with Kelly Brazik's efforts as Carol's. So again, it's just realizing the COVID experience made us realize that even though we all stepped up, and think we've done a phenomenal job, and I know everyone on the team is very proud of their individual effort and the group effort. As we come out of this, where do we put our energies and our resources? And I think you've hit it right on the head, Ruth, as to what that discussion is. And it can't be had. You can't really have that discussion without seeing a broader picture of the whole organization.
Though, Mike, the question you asked and Ruth addressed is the same question, I think, generally that we had at our first meeting. What is our role? And we've pretty much opted to be occasional funders and conveners as opposed to program operators.
Right.
Is that a fair statement?
Yes, and I think there's a certain level of visibility that may have come from our efforts in other areas, that when someone comes up with these ideas, they call us. And I don't know if it's because of our ability to provide funding, our ability to provide connectivity to others. And certainly that's our role. But, convener, aggregator, concierge is a lot different than making sure that there's content for 12 weeks of a program, or even 2 days of a job fair.
So, Mike, if I could move along, the last item on your list was mentoring.
That's something we've always had on the list. And so when I mentioned apprenticeships, I probably just should have put a dash and bookmark those together. But I hope that this is provided some baseline information that can result in additional questions from the committee members and the board, and further more in-depth discussion at another meeting.
Okay, so apart from the agenda, everybody knows Carly circulated something from the State University. Carly, you want to talk about that a little?
Yeah, thank you, Jim. The SUNY chancellor brought to our attention about this this continuing education tax benefit that is now available to employers. To help employees get more training, to build on their skill sets. And I would just like for our business community to be aware of it, especially as we move into the post-pandemic period. I know there are so many businesses right now that are desperately looking for workers. And I think it would be great, if the businesses would be able to recruit new employees by saying, look, we're going to give you, you're going to be able to go back to college and, add to your credentials. I think it's probably a little more complicated than I'm explaining it here, but it just seems to me that we need to spread the word about this, because it is something that would be very advantageous for our counties.
And it's tax deductible to employers with no impact for the tax impact for
And-
what do we do with this kind of information, Mike?
Well, when I received it, I circulated it to Bill Gerlich at the chamber. I also spoke with you, Jim, and then circulated it to everyone on the committee. We are planning to include it tomorrow in the Columbia Comeback e-blast. And because of the governor's announcement that on May 19th, the state is going to reopen most everything with the 6-foot limitations, we are going to have an extended, not an extended, but a more advertised Columbia Comeback call on Monday. And we'll certainly raise it there. One of the things we recently did is we did acquire an updated list from a marketing firm of the businesses in the county. And, we're looking at, how we develop a better method of communicating with those businesses. And we have about 2,000 people on our email list. And, the chamber has 700 or 800. And I think the more you get this out, we can get it out to our attorneys and accountant members because, everyone's so overwhelmed with information and particularly COVID relief information. It's just a process of dissemination. And I think each of us can certainly leverage what the organization is doing by bringing it to the attention of friends, colleagues, and suppliers and people you do business with.
So, Mike, another item not on the stated agenda, you circulated something from Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation.
Yes, Jim and I had a conversation earlier about some of the things that other regions and other economic development organizations are involved with. And one of the and I know that it's always good to bring people from outside your county or region in to speak. And I know Dr. Drummer had been working with Berkshire Taconic on a forum of that type before COVID. And again, perhaps some of our role is at that level. I'm not necessarily suggesting that we sponsor something of a particular topic, but I thought after my conversation with Jim that it would be worthwhile to expose us all to, is there some type of workforce education series similar to the type of forum that was presented here? But again, we don't want to do any of these things where even if it's our principal project, where you don't add everyone's logo and make it partners so that you build capacity, you build confidence, and you build relationships with everyone in these arenas so that it doesn't become competitive that one group is trying to get out in front of another.
This BTC initiative was very interesting. It starts with addressing what they call disparities in our community and saying, well, with all these divisions, all these disparities, how do we create coherent community? There are 4 presentations. Unfortunately, 3 of them have already taken place. I think the last one is next Tuesday. And so I think on this one, Mike, maybe we just look for the write-up on this. It's probably too late to be regular listeners, but they had some very good people, including Congressman Delgado, Deval Patrick, a couple of academics. So it was a timely subject and interesting to listen to. I heard 2 of the 3 so far.
Well, we certainly can get the information and links and make that available. We did put out our our May e-news today, and we were very delighted to be able to provide a link to Dr. Drummer's keynote from our annual meeting. And again, Carly, we want to thank you for doing that. We've gotten great feedback on it, and we did put a link along with our digital printed annual report so that if you weren't able to attend the meeting, you didn't get to you don't get the opportunity to hear Dave or myself or our elected officials, but we didn't want you to miss out on the keynote. So thank you again.
Thank you, Carly.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it very much.
And next year we get breakfast, right?
That's right, at Kozel's.
Right.
Yes.
Poor Helen Kozel, every time I see her, she's saying, when are you coming back with that group? But
Right.
I was going to put a picture. I actually took the picture, but I didn't have the nerve to put the picture of Kozel's at the on the last slide. But I did promise her that I would assure everyone that they've been open throughout for takeout and in restaurant dining.
Final thoughts, additional comments from anybody?
Yeah, just with all of the items we just covered, we talked about, where do we lead? Where do we assist? And so what are our next steps? What are we going to do?
Well, we had a conversation today with Mary Ellen O'Loughlin, who you may recall was the facilitator that we used for both of the previous 3-year strategic plan reviews. I was planning to have a discussion at the governance committee this meeting was on a calendar was ahead of it, so I wanted to take the opportunity to get it started. But the plan would be, um, you know, I guess I can call it the Tony Jones model, 3, 3, and 3. And we ended up with 4 because of adding workforce and education. But several of you have said, what is our role? And I just think that it's good to realize that we have both financial and staffing limitations based on our size, and looking at the needs of the community. Where should we be focusing our, under the 4 pillars, our objectives and our goals, and then you can measure in a better way our performance. And I think our performance in the last COVID year speaks for itself, but it was pretty ad hoc. And I think we did everything we were asked to do, and it was all within our mission. But going forward, how do we focus on meaningful ways so that we're just not the front desk concierge at a expensive hotel?
Right. Okay.
But Dave, was your question related to the work of this committee and this pillar, or was it a broader one going more to a strategic role?
Probably more aimed at this committee, but actually both.
Okay.
It's hard not to have it integrated, and we're in fairly good shape financially as a not-for-profit. We're actually quite strong, and we have had several conversations, including one today, where the county is looking for us to pick up some additional responsibilities and organizing and focusing on the broadband, so that the county has a much clearer picture of where the gaps are than it can have now, so that when the federal stimulus money begins to flow, we're not asking for money without an ability to explain where, how, and why, and we need to spend, and where we need to spend it. So, that's a very important need, both for businesses and for when you look at the 4,200 second homeowners plus who abandoned their metropolitan New York and New Jersey areas during COVID and came up here. That's why our sales tax is 3% higher than it was the year before during a pandemic.
Mhm.
And if they don't have broadband, I mean, we can transform the influx and transient tourist economy, which is, admittedly one of our strongest sectors, as well as manufacturing, the gig economy, the creative arts type businesses, by having stronger broadband.
And the broadband is going to be a rather large project. So do we just add that to our plate, or do we take a look at other things and maybe move a few things off? Or at least partner with somebody else and let them take the lead, maybe, I don't know.
We can certainly add strength to a project with our collective staff experience and our board. But, again, we don't have to own things just because they're available to be in charge of.
Right.
But it's fair to say the supervisors have identified us as having an important role in broadband, and I think now in affordable housing.
Right.
Yep.
And when you look at the fact that we've had discussions about their commitment, and they're very pleased with our work, and have indicated they intend to restore our full funding for next year, and perhaps add some funding back this year for the extra broadband work. They do provide 50% of our budget. 6 years ago, they provided quite a bit more of our percentage of our budget. But our goal with when they began to fund CEDC again, was to try to get down to the 50% county funding level. and with the loan fund and the grants and the SBA micro lending increases, they're very pleased with how we've, in the membership and sponsorship brought the percentage of county funding of the organization down.
Well, Mike, this is a quite elaborate agenda, and thank you for putting it together even while you are traveling. Any final thoughts from committee members? I would invite the public to comment, and I have no indication it's just us. So in the absence of public, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second, please.
I'll second that.
Those in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Mr.
Aye.
Chairman.
Take care, everybody. We stand.
Thank you.
Please keep those cards and letters coming. Thank you.
Thanks.
On